A very warm good evening to one and all present over here. This is Pallavi Minhas, and I'll be representing Global Exposure India, a Delhi-based organization wherein we provide trainings for various English proficiency exams. So, as you can see on my screen very clearly, that in today's webinar we are going to talk about a Canadian-based exam, which is CELPIP, and which is nowadays very popular for Canadian immigration. So before we start in, could anyone please let me know whether I'm audible clearly or not? Either in the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself and let me know whether I'm clear or not. Okay, thank you so much, Miss Gurleen and Miss Ganvi. So let's proceed with our first slide. Which will be the details about this exam. So starting up with the very clear information, which is the full form. So as you can see, yes, sir. Is there any issue?
Louis, there is no audio.
Is it fine, sir? Am I not audible to you? Kindly let me know.
Change the slot. Otherwise, not getting voice.
Audible.
Sir, I am audible to others. Everyone is messaging in the group that I am audible. On the chat box as well. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for clarifying this. So I am going ahead with the full form part. So as you can see on the screen, that full form says Canadian English Language Proficiency Index Program, which is in a way connoting that this exam is only and only for Canada and no other country is indulged over here. So the very first point that I would want to discuss over here is, if you are looking forward to some other country, so this exam is not for you. But yes, if you are very, very sure with your destination country, which is Canada, so this exam is for you. You can either apply for your study visa or your permanent residence through this exam, but only and only to Canada. I hope I am clear with this point. And could you please once clarify whether I'm audible or not? I have this still confusion in my mind that I might not be audible. Could you please clarify it? Anyone? Okay, thank you so much. So going to the next part, we know that whenever we go ahead with any permanent residence program, so there are criterias. So I'm not talking about the study visa part for here, but I'm putting up the permanent residency part here. When we talk about your or our permanent residency, we follow a criteria wherein we require certain certification or certain methods or criteria. So what do we have in this criteria? We need to have our bachelor's degree when we are applying for permanent residence, which is the PR part. We need to get our bachelor's degree, which will be providing us 150 points, right? Because you know that when we apply for PR, it follows point system. So wherein we will be getting the points on the basis of the criteria that we follow over here. So coming up again with the bachelor's degree, your bachelor's degree will be going to provide you 150 points. And then comes your work experience. While applying for PR, your work experience carries a must requirement. So you should at least be having 1 year of your working experience, which is going to give you 50 points. Then coming up to the age. Now, age is a very important factor wherein whenever we talk about some PR exam, your study-based exam, so age plays a major role over there. Here, they have been asking for age which should lie between 17 years to 45. That means you can be between them. But then that doesn't mean if you're 46 or you are 47, you are 48, you won't be able to apply. You will be able to apply even if you are 50. Just there will be a slight difference on the basis of points that will be given up to you on the basis of this age factor, right? So your age, particularly if you are between 17 to 45, you will be getting 110 points. Then coming to the last thing, which is English proficiency score, and which is the most important factor. Herein, when you are applying for Canada, you have this option that either you can go with IELTS exam or you can go ahead with CELPIP exam. Now you can clearly see that the most weightage that a particular column is having, so that is your English proficiency exam, which is a major factor in case of applying for your immigration process. So altogether, they are going to form your CRS score, which is generally the selection factor. Now you might have heard that, okay, your CRS score is good, so you can get entry easily. Your CRS score is less, so there are rare or there are low chances of getting your file accepted. So what is this CRS score? CRS score has been, or CRS score contains these 4 factors which will be evaluating your total things, right? Now going ahead with CELPIP exam, I just gave you a background as in what is CRS score, what is the criteria. Now I'm going to talk about the exam, that what is this exam all about and why should we go ahead with this. Those who have appeared for IELTS earlier, they might be knowing that IELTS exam is a 2-day exam. When we talk about 2 days, so listening, reading and writing will be conducted in a single day and speakings come to the other day. But when we talk about this exam, which is CELPIP, it is a single day exam, one sitting, and yes, you will be able to do this exam in 3 hours. The second major difference over here is when we talk about IELTS, you might be knowing this, that IELTS is having 2 options when we come to the exemption part of this exam, attemptation part of the exam. So IELTS, you can either go with pen paper exam or you can go with computer based exam. But when we talk about this exam, which is CELPIP, it is only and only computer based exam, right? You don't have any other option over there. Over here, you have just computerized method. Second thing, validity comes the same. IELTS is valid for 2 years and CELPIP again is valid for complete 2 years. Wondering that, okay, who are the conductors? When we talk about IELTS exams, so Cambridge, Seoul, and then IELTS Australia, all these are conductors. But who are the conductors of CELPIP exam? So CELPIP is being conducted by a Paragon, a Canadian organization, which is a unit of UBC. So Paragon is the conductor of CELPIP exam, and presently this exam is being conducted in Canada, USA, Philippines, UAE, Singapore, China, India, Korea, Japan, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Qatar, Nepal, Australia, UK. In all these countries, you can see how many countries, I mean, a big number of countries are conducting. You might be wondering that why is it there in Canada also? Because the answer is very much clear. Half of the population living in Canada are still not having their PRs. So for their PR through this exam. When the exam was introduced in India, it was in the year of 2018, and then the only center was Chandigarh at that time. That, you know, that last few years were affected badly by COVID. So this exam gained popularity, and then now we have the only center first was Chandigarh, but with popularity, with the demand, increased demand for this exam, now we have centers almost in every state. New Delhi, Gurugram, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Kolkata. In all these states, we have the centers for this exam. Now going to the main difference. Why should we choose this? Now the first major difference between 12 CLP. Now what is CLP? Bands in IELTS. So CLP is of 9 bands in total. When we talk about
We might be having the network problem. Let me take over too. First of all, confirm, am I audible?
Now it's audible.
Okay. So this is the PR criteria. Like when you are applying for the PR, the entire PR procedure is a point-based system. And you have calculated your point out of these 4 parameters, like your education qualification, your work experience, your age factor, your English proficiency. And like bachelor degree is the minimum requirement. And otherwise work experience, you have to have the 1 year experience. It should be after the graduation only. Any work experience prior to graduation or with the graduation is not accepted for PR, like not calculated for PR. And starting with 17 year, you became eligible to apply, and up to 45, you get a some point out of this 110 point, which is the highest point for your age factor. After crossing the 45, you don't receive any point for your age factor. And the fourth one is your English proficiency, and that carrying the most important weightage and point, that is 160 point. So moving, like all the 4 parameters put together became your CRS score, comprehensive rating score. Higher the CRS score, better would be the chances of getting it selected in the PR procedure. Now, the Pallavi was covering that this part, like CELPIP is a 1 day, 1 sitting exam completed in 3 hours, validity is 2 years. And then Paragon, which is the body conducting this exam, and exams is available in 19 countries right now, including India. So these are the center you can find the CELPIP center for examination. And starting with Chandigarh, you have the center in New Delhi, Gurugram, Chennai, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Kolkata. Now, wait a minute. Are you there?
I'm here only. I'm extremely sorry for the inconvenience. Actually, I am in Himachal Pradesh, and you might be familiar with the situation over there. So sorry, I'll be resuming from the same where I left. So we were just discussing about the differences on the basis of both exams, wherein the one is IELTS and the other one is CELPIP. I hope whatever I have delivered so far is clear to everybody over here. So yeah, coming back to it, I was discussing about the band.
Make me co-host.
Okay, sir. So what I was saying is IELTS is totally of 9 bands, and when we talk about CELPIP carries 12 CLB scores. CLB is just the measuring unit of CELPIP exam. The other thing that I would bring over here is what is the desired process now? What is the desired score? When we talk about IELTS, we generally are asked for 8,777. Now, what is this 8,777? 8,777 is 8 in listening, 7 in writing, 7 in reading, and then 7 in speaking again. But when we talk about IELTS or CELPIP exam, sorry, CELPIP exam in particular. So what happens over here? The required score is 9999. Now what is this 9999? 9999 is nothing but just an alternate to 8777. It is equal to 8777. 9999 means 9 in listening, 9 in writing, 9 in reading, and 9 in speaking. When we talk about CELPIP exam, this 9999 you have to score out of 12 over here. Wherein when we talk about IELTS, 8777 you have to get out of 9. Now you can clearly see the difference. When we talk about IELTS, you just have a gap of a single digit, right? Wherein 8777 you have to get out of 9. But when we talk about CELPIP exam, you have to get 9 in all the modules by 12, wherein you are having a gap of almost 3 digits. Now the difference is pretty much clear to you that getting 9 out of 12 is much easier than getting 8 out of 9. Going ahead with the next slide, I hope the requirement part is clear. Kindly let me know whether the requirement part is clear, since it is very important. Okay, thank you so much for replying. Now I will be talking about the distribution of marks. When I said CLB is 9, that doesn't mean CLB 9 will make you eligible, especially when you are looking for study visa. When you are looking for study visa, CLB 7 will make you eligible, and even in PR, CLB 7 is the eligibility score. But distribution of points and the advantage have been distributed in a way that CLB 7 will make your entry definite. I am repeating it out. So CLB 9 is making your entry definite, and why I am saying this, I will be telling this in the coming slide. So coming to the marks distribution over here, when we say that we get CLB 7 with spouse and without spouse, we have divided it into 2 different categories. So with spouse, you know that your partner will also be giving the exam. That is why the distribution has been put in this way. And without spouse, since you will be the only person, so marks distribution is given in this way. CLB 7 will give you 64 points. With spouse and without spouse, it is going to give you 68 points. CLB 8 will give you 88 points with spouse, and without spouse, it will give you 92 points, wherein you are getting the hike of 24 complete points. CLB 9 will give you 116 points with spouse, and without spouse, you will be getting 124 points. CLB 10 similarly will give you 128 points with spouse, and without spouse, there will be only 100, not one only, but yes, 136. So we will not consider here CLB 10 score, since our requirement is CLB 9 only, right? So we'll be targeting this one. 116 with spouse, and without spouse 124 points. This is the distribution of marks. Now I said a very important line in the previous slide or this slide, when I said that okay, CLB 9 is going to make your entry definite. Now why did I say this? Why will CLB 9 make your entry definite? The advantages that I was talking about are here now. Suppose I am the person applying for immigration and I have managed to score CLB 9. Okay, so now I have my master's degree with me and I managed to score CLB 9, that I am repeating again. So my master's degree will give me 50 additional points when I scored CLB 9, and my work experience, which will be or which requires to be more than 3 years, will give me again 50 points. Now you can clearly see that 50 and 50 becomes 100 over here. But that doesn't mean if you score CLB 7 or CLB 8, you are not getting any advantage. Even if you score CLB 7 or CLB 8, your additional qualification, which is your master's degree, will provide you 25 extra points, and your work experience, which requires to be more than 3 years, will provide you 25 more extra points. In total, when you score CLB 9, so you will be getting English proficiency score, and then you will be getting additional qualification score and your work experience additional score. So if you are married, that means you have a spouse, English proficiency will give you 52, additional qualification will give you 50, and your work experience will give you 50 more points. But in case you don't have any spouse and you are unmarried, so your additional qualification will give you 50, your work experience will give you 50, and your English will give you 56, which is making it 156 points. And just imagine you are getting a hike of 156 points in your existing CRS score. Now no one can interrupt in the process of your immigration, since each point is very important, and here you are getting the hike of 150 points directly, so which is surely going to make your entry definite. That is why I was saying, if you manage to score CLB 9, that means you are definitely going ahead with your process to immigration. Now going ahead with the next slide, which is about the exam format. The background I discussed so far, is anyone having any doubt in it? If you have any doubt, kindly let me know, we can discuss things out. I just have a minute for discussing the doubts in. You can just put in on the chat box and then we can discuss them out. Otherwise, we'll be moving forward. Yes, Gurleen.
In pursuing bachelor degree, Gurleen, first of all, you have to just qualify or complete your bachelor degree first. After that, you have to have the 1 year experience at least. Then only you became eligible to apply. Before that, you can't apply.
And if you want to go ahead with your master's, sir, could you please explain that scenario as well?
Yes. Like Gurleen, first of all, I just complete your answer. Gurleen, you are good candidate for study purpose. Like since you are completing your bachelor degree within 1 year, so you can start looking forward for higher education after bachelor degree in Canada, since CELPIP exam is a valid exam for study purpose also. And its validity is 2 years. So somehow you can utilize the CELPIP exam score within 1 year for study purpose or after 1 year for the immigration purpose. So hopefully you understand the importance of this exam, because in IELTS, there is a 2 separate exam. One is academic and another is general. In this exam, no general, no academic, only one exam, and that give you the benefit of both the exams. Like Gulin is saying, he is completing the BTech. No problem, Gulin, you can go for the master degree after that BTech, or otherwise you can go for the 1 year PG diplomas in your field immediately. Or otherwise, if you are looking for the PR only, then you have to wait at least 1 year to get the work experience after graduation. Then only you can move forward in immigration. Any question further? Please unmute and ask the question.
So Miss Sudha wants to know, combination of husband and wife will increase the chance or not?
Surely, because पल्लवी पीछे वाली slide पे लेके आना.
Sure, sir.
The first one. Which?
This one, sir?
Yeah, this one. Like the first, the middle column is saying your point with a spouse, and third column says your point without a spouse. It means if you and your spouse both are appearing in exam, the main applicant would be getting the point as per as the middle column, and your spouse would contributing the bonus point to this existing point, and it would be added advantage to your profile. And if your spouse is not giving the exam, then according to the third column, you would be getting your point, and your spouse additional point you will not be getting. So bonus point you can claim with your spouse, though the mandatory requirement of CLB 9, it goes with a main applicant only. Those who are having the main applicant required to have the CLB 9 score. Otherwise, your spouse may have the little less score also, but should be at least CLB 7. So qualifying with the CLB 7, your spouse will be contributing the bonus point to your existing point. Hope you have got your answer. Go ahead,
Sheets?
Pallavi.
Okay, sir. Gurleen, it can help you with study visa as well, since it is applicable for all the cities and all the examination and educational institutions in Canada. So that way it will provide you help in your master courses as well. Okay.
Gulin, this CELPIP exam is not only recognized exam for getting admission into the college or university in Canada. Otherwise, it is an eligible exam for getting a study visa also. So in both the category, you can easily use this CELPIP score, and you can utilize the that particular score for your both the categories, like getting the admission and getting the visa also.
Okay. Ms. Sudha wants to know something. But here without spouse only more beneficial it appears.
Ha. Sudha, it looks like a slightly better point with a unmarried or without a spouse, but somehow in totality you are not getting that much of point which your spouse contributed by when both are giving the exam. So it looks like a slightly difference of a 4-5 point, but when you go with your spouse, then the additional bonus point which get your CRS score is far like better than this 4-5 marks difference only.
All right. So going
Okay, so what it says is, if the spouse is also giving a score, then that adds to the individual score of the main applicant, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All right. So I hope the doubts have been clarified. So coming ahead with the format of the exam. Now, what is the format differences? As I already discussed, module remains the same. Here, listening, speaking, reading, and writing will again be a part of it, but the pattern is no more the same. For example, let's say that we have talking or we have considered speaking part over here. Now in IELTS, you know that speaking is very much fixed, and then you will get a speaker in front of you who will be your examiner, and you can be asked multiple questions from him or her. But here there will be no speaker, and here there will be just computer fixed section, and the questions are going to revolve around them only. Let's say giving advice. Now giving advice, you will have questions like given advice to a sister who is about to pursue her higher studies. Then there can be question like given advice to your friend who wants to see a movie. Such questions will be revolving around them. And writing also carries two sections, which is writing an email and responding to survey. Same goes for the listening and reading part. Now we will be portraying differences on the basis of both the exam, which will help you in better understanding as in which exam has to be chosen for going ahead. So first we'll starting off from the listening module, which remains the first for most of the times in exams. So in case of IELTS, you know that listening is a group exam, and then there will be 400 to 500 students sitting in the same pattern, same room, and there can be many factors like, you know, that you have shared resources, there will be only one speaker, and there can be many things which can affect your performance. But when we talk about CELPIP, CELPIP is a very dedicated exam wherein you will getting your personal computer, personal cabin, and you have to do your complete exam over there only. So there will be no factor which can impact your performance in any way. Second thing, when we talk about IELTS, since it is an international based exam, so number of accents, number of origins of language are indulged over here. But when we talk about CELPIP exam, because it is a Canadian based exam only, so there will be only Canadian English. There will be no other origin or accent indulged over here, which is in a way easier to understand. Coming to the number of questions in listening activity, CELPIP has 40 questions in listening activity, but when we talk about IELTS has 40 questions when we talk about listening activity, but when we comes to CELPIP, it has only 38 fixed questions. Then we come on to IELTS. What time does it give for doing 40 questions? Only 30 minutes. Now you cannot even utilize a single minute to a single questions. But when we talk about CELPIP, you are getting 55 complete minutes for doing only 38 questions, wherein you will be getting 1.5 minutes for each question. Coming to the requirement part, so now you need to get 8 out of 9 when we talk about IELTS, which is 90% of the score. But when we talk about CELPIP, it is just 9 that you have to get out of 12, which has only 75% score, which is in a way very easy. And then you are supposed to get only 33 correct answers to get a definite score. But when we talk about IELTS, you should get 37 correct answers and you have only the gap of 3 wrong answers. But coming back to the CELPIP exam, you can go ahead with even 5 wrong answers, which is a big deal. So you can clearly see there are so many advantages which can help you in crossing this exam super easily. Now coming ahead with the writing part, which is very, very convenient over here, since most of the people who are working professionals apply for this exam, so they might be facing many problems, like sometimes they are unable to write, since IELTS most of the people go for pen paper exam, right? So they can be handwriting, they can be spelling things which can impact your performance. But coming to the CELPIP has number of benefits when they talk about this exam, or particularly this module. So coming ahead with the IELTS one, IELTS, the first section is letter writing. If a spouse take IELTS, main applicant takes. Okay, we will be answering your question towards the end. Kindly wait. Let me complete this section first, and then sir will be taking up all the questions. So yeah, as we are discussing the writing part, so writing task 1, which is letter writing, remains the same, and then we have essay writing. Now when we talk about essay writing in IELTS, you know that how difficult it is, right? How difficult it is. So essay writing here has 5 different categories nowadays: advantage, opinion based essays, and so many other categories of essays as well. But when we talk about CELPIP has only fixed category, which is passage writing, and that we generally had a look upon, which is survey writing. Also I'll be covering upon it. So a fixed category. The second important thing over here is at letter writing in IELTS, you know that it has only 150. Okay, so letter writing is having only 150 words, and then essay writing you need to get 250 words, which is making it 400 in total. But when we talk about CELPIP exam, so email writing comes first, then comes the passage writing, which is again supposed to be written in 150 words only. Now you see 150 word in first section, 150 word in second section, which is making it 300 in total, which is very convincing word limit. Then coming to the other part, which is auto word counter. Generally, when we write paper or we go ahead with pen paper exam, now we count down the words manually. But CELPIP, you don't have to do that, since you will be provided with an auto word counter. Now you don't have to count down the words manually, but it will be there on your screen just below on your writing pad. Then coming to the bad handwriting, no, when you are writing pen paper exam, so handwriting can play or handwriting can impact your performance. But coming to the CELPIP, which is a typing based test, so there are no chances of getting your writing affected through your handwriting. Then coming to the other important part, which is the spell checker. You know that many, as I already said, that most of the people applying for this exam are working professionals. So they might not be familiar with so many spellings, no? But when we talk about, यार मैं फिर से left हो गई.
We go ahead. Hello.
I'm extremely sorry for the inconvenience that has been caused by this network. So coming back, I think we were on writing. Can we go to the writing section, sir? Okay, thank you so much. So when we are talking about the writing module, we were just discussing about the spell checker part. Now in IELTS, we don't get any spell checker, but when we come ahead with CELPIP part, so we are getting spell checker wherein whenever you write any spelling which is incorrect, there will be a red line just below your word. You click on it and you can get your spelling corrected. So this is how we go ahead in this writing part in CELPIP. Coming to the fourth advantage, you know that when we are going ahead with computer based exam, so things are very easy. You can anytime go back, cut things up, and then you can add things on. So it is more convincing than going ahead with a pen paper exam. I know that most of the people follow the traditional method, but yes, it is always good to be advanced and then go ahead with smart techniques instead of just following the traditional ones. So moving on to the next slide, which is about reading. When we generally talk about the reading part in IELTS, you know that we get multiple questions, which makes it even more difficult since we get questions like not given, false, true, we get MCQs, we get headlines, which is in a way very difficult to understand and to be put upon the right answer over there. And then spellings also play a major role over there. But when we talk about self-peep reading test, so the very important thing is we get same variety of questions. There are no different categories like IELTS. Here we get questions in drop down menu. So I'll be telling you what a drop down menu is. First, we'll discuss number of questions. So we get 38 questions in CELPIP, whereas when we talk about IELTS, you know that you are going to get 40 complete questions. Correct answers required in IELTS is 34, which is a big deal. But when we talk about CELPIP, we just need to get 31 correct answers. Now, what is the required band score? 7 out of 9 is required in IELTS, but when we talk about CELPIP, we can even go ahead with 9 out of 12, which is 75%, and which has been the required score. Now, when we talk about IELTS, you know that you have to do the reading part in a different platform, but when we talk about CELPIP, since it is a computer-based exam, and you will be doing So when we talk about the platform, so as I was saying that we have to do it in the same on the same screen. You need not to go anywhere, as it is the computer based test, and then you have to do all the modules in the same on the same screen. Now when I was saying drop down menu, what is this drop down menu? Now drop down menu is the combination of fill in the blanks and MCQ simply. You will get a blank, you click on it, you will get 4 options, and then you will select the appropriate one, which you find the most suitable, right? And IELTS, you know that reading is very lengthy, since in a simple section you will get paragraphs which will be around 11 to 12, but when I talk about CELPIP activity, you won't get such lengthy paragraphs. Instead, you will just get passages containing 3 to 4 paragraphs, which is easier to read as compared to the IELTS one. Going ahead with the speaking modules, when we talk about the speaking module, so when we say that CELPIP speaking is without examiner, so we don't have to be worried about having an examiner in front of you. Now, psychology plays an important role over here. When we see somebody speaking very proficient English in front of us, we generally get demotivated, no? But when we talk about CELPIP, since there is nobody in front of us, and then we don't even have to turn on our camera, so things are in a way very convincing and works in our favor. So you don't even have to turn upon your camera. You see the questions on the screen, you read it, you will get 1 minute to think for it, and then you have to speak up. It will be get it automatically recorded for a minute. Again, I'm repeating that you don't have to speak for more than a minute now. But when we talk about IELTS, you know that you have to at least speak for 2 to 3 minutes. Otherwise, your answer will not be considered appropriate, right? So CELPIP just required to be taught in a minute or just to be recorded for a minute. Around 8 questions, as I showed in the previous slide, that you are only need to speak for 8 questions. But when we talk about IELTS, considering all the questions that are there on the cue card, it comes around 20 questions. And IELTS, you know that you have to speak continuously. You are not supposed to take any break, and you don't have any break in between. So you'll be speaking continuously for 11 to 14 minutes. But when we come to CELPIP, again, you just have to speak for 15 to 20 minutes, that too with appropriate breaks. Coming to the marks required, from the very beginning, I have been saying that CELPIP is only 9 out of 12. But when we talk about IELTS, we need to get 7 out of 9, which is a big deal, especially when you are giving the exam to a proficient speaker of the same language. Going ahead with the other part, now I have familiarized you with all the differences on the basis of modules, all the 4 modules between both the exams. If you have any query and if you want to talk about anything, you are free to put in that on the chat box, or either you can just unmute yourself and call upon it.
There is one question of Sudha. She is saying one want to appear for the IELTS exam and another want to for the CELPIP exam. Especially the main applicant want to go for the IELTS and then the other one care for the CELPIP. Sudha, first of all, both the exams are equally valid for your immigration or PR. Number 1. Number 2, after scoring your score, like whether you have gone for the IELTS exam or whether you attempted the CELPIP one, once you get your individual score module wise, it is equivalent to the CLB score, Canadian Language Benchmark Score, which the Pallavi has shown you in the previous slides. So CLB is the platform where you equate both the score, IELTS and CELPIP, like CLB 7, CLB 8 or CLB 9. These are the 3 scores. Let me explain you. In terms of IELTS, to score the CLB 7, you have to score 6 band in all the 4 modules out of 9. Then your score will be called as the CLB 7 in case of a IELTS exam. Similar, if you wanted to go for the CLB 7, in case of a CELPIP, you have to score the 7 band in all the 4 modules out of 12. Once you got the CLB 7, irrespective of whether it was an IELTS exam or whether it is CELPIP, rest PR procedure is same. So Any exam can be your choice of any of your partner. No worry, no difference at all. Rest process is same. The only thing is that the exam which is having lot of features to support the candidate to score the higher one will definitely your choice. So whether you are appearing or your spouse is appearing, definitely you will gain a lot of advantage with the CELPIP exam. All the 4 modules, Pallavi have just explained you, carrying the lot of weightage over the IELTS exam. So that was the answer for your question. And another question was Sheikh Bashir asking for that, comfortable with pen paper. Can I first write on paper and then can type on the computer? Sheikh Bashir, no problem at all. As far as the process is concerned, in CELPIP exam, they also provide you a pen and paper just to do your whatever rough work or whatever want to use that pen and paper, and then it has to be submitted after the exam. You cannot carry with you after the exam. So let me explain you, like once you go for the computer based exam and you get the thorough practice, you attempt the number of exams in computer, definitely you will find this method easy one instead of pen paper. Because in computer based, you can easily change the answer. You can modify it. You can just reshuffle the sentence. You can insert any sentence between your paragraph at any moment of time. Moreover, they are providing the spell checker also. So you will not be making any spelling mistake in your writing and improving the chances of getting the higher one. Because in IELTS, every spelling mistake is get counted and it get counted by the negative marking. So hopefully you understand the importance of computer-based exam that give you a lot of advantage. Sudha is again asking the CLB 7 in IELTS, what is the required score? I explained you CLB 7 for IELTS, getting a 6 band in all the 4 module out of 9. That score is called as the CLB 7. Scoring a 6 band in all the 4 module out of 9 in IELTS called as the CLB 7 score. So we are running out of time because only 13 minutes are left. We have to cover a lot. If you are having any question, go ahead.
Okay. Whose doubts have been clarified already? They are supposed to put in their phone numbers in the chat box. Please, you can do that. So Mrs. Sudha is having another query.
Sudha, I have already explained you. Again, I am explaining you. Getting a 7 band in all the 4 module out of 12, that score is called as the CLB 7. CELPIP में easy है. आपको चारों मॉड्यूल में जो स्कोर है वही आपका CLB बन जाता है. If you score the 8 band in all the 4 module, your score becomes CLB 8. If you score the 9-1 in all the 4 module, then you are at the CLB 9 level. Simple. But somehow in IELTS, you have to score the little extra.
Okay, Mrs. Sudha, if you're comfortable, you can please just put in the number and you can just pin me up so that it will be only up to me. Miss Goodleen, the differences you can see, you can clearly see that I have explained all the 4 slides. So the difference is very much clear how easy it is to get the required score in CELPIP as compared to the IELTS one. And the other thing, if you are very, very sure with your destination, that is Canada, so surely this exam will provide you so many benefits as compared to the other exam, which is IELTS. So I hope this is clear to you now. Okay, you are planning for Australia, then this exam is not for you. You can go ahead with IELTS only. That is what I explained in the very beginning, that this exam is only and only for Canada. Yes. If you have any other query, please let us know so that we can discuss things over it. Otherwise, we'll be moving further. And also,
Just let me take the official website of a CELPIP. First, then only you can vote.
Sure, sir.
This is the official website of a CELPIP. Now, clearly, just can you see?
Yes, sir.
In the previous, like here it is, CELPIP is now accepted for student direct stream for study purpose. So, like, who accept the CELPIP? This is the segment given over here. Now you can clearly say these are the criteria where you can utilize the CELPIP score, including your student visa under the student direct stream. And you can get the PR, you can get the Canadian citizenship, even you can utilize for the CEC class, Federal Skilled Worker Program, PNP programs, Provincial Nomination Program. All this category you can utilize the CELPIP. Moreover, let me clarify you our special status, like we are the one of the official channel partner in India of this CELPIP exam. So when you go to that recognized part, you will find the country-wise their official partner, and you will find our name. Here it is. So we are one of their official associate in India, and this is our address. We are in Delhi-based organization. Those who are in Delhi or nearby, they can just visit physically on this address. We are providing the complete offline training of the CELPIP exam. And moreover, all the study material, official study material, which is not openly available in the market as far as CELPIP is concerned, you have to purchase online, and it will cost you $220 Canadian, which comes out to be a 13,000 rupees in Indian currency. But our training, which is only of 12,000 rupees, comprises of this study material also. So including study material and complete training program, we are providing with a like 12,000 rupees in online mode and offline mode. Go ahead, Pallavi.
Okay, can we please go to the next slide, sir? Okay, yes, we are going to that part only. So when we talk about the fees of IELTS exam, you know that it has increased now and it is 16,200 rupees. But now when we talk about the fees of CELPIP exam, it is just 12,800 rupees, very less to the IELTS one. You can clearly see the difference. Then when we talk about the booking dates now, you know that IELTS is having fixed dates, and then you have to pre-book it 2 to 3 weeks prior to the exam. But when we talk about CELPIP is very, very flexible. When we talk about the booking dates, you can book the exam even in the same week. Let's say that today is Monday and I want to book my exam on Saturday. So there is no chances of getting it rejected. You can book your exam even on Monday if you want to go for Saturday. And the other thing is, the exam is also available on weekdays as well, which make things easier for you comparatively to the other exam, which is IELTS. Now, some of you might have this question, can we give the exam at home? So you don't have this option over here. You cannot give your exam at home, but you will have to go to the center and then give your exam there only. Okay, now coming to the spoken English part that we already discussed, and the result also will be declared in 3 to 5 days of CELPIP. As you know that it is going to take 13 days. Coming to this part, so this is our address. Whosoever is residing in Delhi, you are free to come up, you are free to discuss things out, and you can get offline coaching as well. We have that option as well. And this is the number of our head counselor, Mrs. Neha. She has been working in the field for last 15 years, and she is having each and every information regarding this exam. So you are free. You can just take a screenshot of this slide and you can just talk to her whenever you want to feel like getting more information about this exam. And then we are providing our training support, live classes, and the official study material in just 12,000 rupees, as already asked by sir. And then Mrs. Sudha is having again some questions that if we apply once, can we reschedule it if any emergency? Sir, could you please take up this question?
Yes, we can reschedule.
Yes, it can be rescheduled.
Yes.
So I request the rest of the people to please put up your numbers over there, Mr. Ashrani and then Miss Priya, Mr. Sheikh. Kindly put your numbers on the chat box so that we can contact you back. Thank you, Mr. Sheikh. Thank you, Miss Asha Rani. We are just running short with time. Otherwise, we would have covered the other part as well. Since the number of questions were a bit high today, so we could not cover the other part. So this is what we have. If you have any query and if you want us to discuss anything about the exam, you are free to ask. Kindly let us know. You can just unmute yourself and put up the questions. Okay, I think we are done for today and no such queries there. So thank you so much for joining in with us. We are looking forward to see you again. So yeah, it was really nice experience meeting you all. We are expecting a phone call from your side and we'll surely be giving you a phone call too by tomorrow. So thank you so much for joining in and have a good night.